Okay, so this is week 4 of my training weeks leading up to the British Championships, which is now 12 weeks away. Started off the week with squats as usual. I was spotted here by Daz the Walrus Sloan, who's making some awesome progress himself. This was 242 kilos, a weight which used to feel super light before the injury happened, but you know, it is what it is. The plan was 2 triples at this weight, but only managed a single and 2 doubles just because of how hard it felt. But it's kind of is what it is, and I'll move up in weight next week. Probably go for some singles or something. After this was 175 kilos for the speed work. Felt nice and light, nice and fast. On the first rep of the set, you'll see here I fell forward a bit, so I had to correct things for the second rep. But other than that, it was cool. I did 4 sets of 2 here. Or 5 sets of 2, I believe. No, it was 5 sets of 2. Session after that was rack presses and shoulder assistance. The session actually went really well. I did 155 kilos for 4 sets of 4 compared to last week's 150 kilos for 3 sets of 4 and 1 set of 3, so that's definitely a progression. Then went on to 160 kilos, which again is a 5 kilo jump from last week on the end range rack presses for 3 sets of 5, and again completed all sets, so that's awesome. I put the change down to actually changing my footwear. I was wearing Olympic shoes, but I switched to flat shoes, and the reason I think that helped is because my heels are no longer elevated, so it makes it easier for me to get my knees under my hips, which is like the general recommendation for benching. Here's sumo deadlifts. This week the working weight was 257 compared to last week's 250. If you remember how slowly last week's 250 felt, or moved, this is a little bit quicker. Still not satisfactory, as I used to do this weight for 10 reps, but it's clear that I've made progress from last week to this week. There are a lot of factors involved, but I'd like to think that the back and hip problem is somewhat subsiding every time, you know, I work on my rehab and stuff. After that was semi-stiff leg deadlifts. Jumped to 160 this week. Still not a super challenging weight, as you'll see, but the back and the hip was flaring up, so that was probably the best thing, you know, that I've got enough time to really push these, and if all I'm doing is maintaining now, then that's cool. Didn't do any power shrugs after this, due to the fact that Hassan and I were in the back room fucking about with the log press the night before, which was a lot of heavy hip extension work, as you know. Probably shouldn't have done that the night before deadlifts. Anyway, speaking of Hassan, here he is, spotting me with 170 kilos for 3 doubles. To be honest, I thought my bench pressing would have had regressed a lot since the European Championships, due to the fact that I was just a little bit ill after the championships, kind of losing me a little bit of weight, and you know, I've not had any creatine at this point for 12 weeks, so I was quite happy to get 3 doubles on this. The second rep on each set moved a little bit slower than I would have liked, but I put that down to just adjusting to new footwear and having the confidence to drive backward in them, and rather than just straight up, driving straight up seemed to be making my shoulders kind of unpin, and when that happens you really struggle to lock out. Blue banded presses, same weight but this week with a blue band as opposed to a red band, really kind of overloading the end of the movement and encouraging the power development, as long as you really make an effort to move that weight fast through that point. And here are pause squats. 4 sets of 2 with 160 kilo regular pause squats, followed by 2 sets of 2 with 160 kilo paused at the bottom and just above 90 degrees. I'll keep the just above 90 degrees pauses indefinitely, as I find that that's where my sticking point is. After these were wide stance squats. Again, probably very good for me, as they feel quite weak at the moment, and identifying something that you're weak at and working on it can only make you stronger. I think they'll make me stronger at the squat and on the sumo deadlift too. I think it's important to note that you have to identify weaknesses which are specific to the things you're trying to bring up. If you're weak at bicep curls, making yourself stronger at bicep curls will not necessarily make you a better powerlifter. but me being weak at these wide stance squats, an improvement in those could actually transfer onto my squat. I then went on to banded sumo deadlifts, this time with a green band rather than a blue band. I think it's noticeable that the bar didn't travel as quickly this week due to the increase in band tension, not due to a lack of effort at all. Still try to move the thing fast. Next week I'll go for the exact same weight, same band tension, and see if I can improve. I then finished off with some more benching just to add a bit more volume.